The sun beats down, relentless, on the stretching plains of the savannah. The grass, tall and yellowed by drought, sways in a silent rhythm. A sudden rustle breaks the stillness, a flash of golden mane, muscles rippling beneath tawny fur. The lion moves with purpose, each step calculated, each motion silent and deadly. In this moment, the savannah holds its breath, watching the king at work. We've all witnessed this dance before. The lion stalking the herd, eyes focused on the weakest gazelle, the slowest zebra, nature's cycle playing out as it has for millennia. But what if the prey isn't hoofed or horned? What if the king's gaze shifts to something else, a shape upright, slow-moving, alien in its presence? What happens when the lion decides to hunt a human? The image of a lion is woven into our consciousness as a symbol of nobility and power, of untamed wilderness and primal majesty. Lions are not monsters, but creatures of instinct, responding to the laws of survival etched deep in their DNA. Yet beneath the golden glory, there exists a darker, unsettling truth. One that documentary cameras rarely linger on. The reality is that lions, while uncommon, have been known to prey upon humans, and these cases are not myths or legends, but documented, terrifying events. The king of beasts is not immune to desperation and adaptation. When circumstances demand, the rules of the hunt can change, and the line between hunter and hunted blurs in a way that chills us to our core. Why do lions, apex predators of the African plains, sometimes become man-eaters? The answer is complex, rooted in biology, circumstance, and environmental pressures. By nature, lions do not seek out humans. Our build, our upright posture, and our unpredictable behavior mark us as oddities in the animal kingdom. Lions generally view us with caution, if not outright suspicion. But every rule has its exception, and under certain conditions, a lion may shift its gaze from the usual gazelle or buffalo to the vulnerable human. Hunger is the most common catalyst, but it is rarely hunger alone. Injuries, age, and illness often play a decisive role. Imagine a lioness with a broken jaw, unable to bring down the swift and strong zebra, or an old male whose teeth are worn, whose muscles have softened with age. For these lions, the hunt becomes an ever more desperate endeavor. The usual prey is too fast, too strong, too wary. Humans, by contrast, are slower, less aware, often distracted by tasks and technology. In the calculus of survival, this makes us easy targets. The most infamous man-eating lions in history are the lions of Tsavo, immortalized as the Ghost and the Darkness. In the late 19th century, during the construction of the Kenya-Uganda Railway, workers began to disappear. Their bodies were later found with marks of the predator that killed them. The Tsavo lions were not driven by mere injury, but by a combination of factors: a scarcity of natural prey, a changing landscape, and the sudden influx of thousands of workers who became an abundant and easy food source. These lions learned, through experience, that humans were not only edible, but easier to hunt than the usual antelope or buffalo. Once a lion develops a taste for human flesh, the behavior can become habitual, a chilling adaptation that turns the king of the savannah into a silent stalker of humanity. This adaptation is not driven by madness, but by necessity, a calculated shift in behavior in response to changed circumstances. A lion, faced with starvation or debilitating injury, reevaluates the risk and reward of hunting humans. In some cases, the process is gradual. In others, it is immediate and stark. The stories that emerge from these encounters are not merely tales of horror, but of survival, on both sides of the hunt. Lion researchers have spent decades trying to unravel the mystery behind man-eating behavior. Dr. Craig Packer, a world-renowned lion expert, has seen firsthand the circumstances that drive lions to hunt humans. He says, a man-eating lion is often a lion in distress. It's an old male or a starving female. They've found a loophole in their normal hunting strategy. They've learned that we are an easy, high-calorie meal. And that's a lesson that is hard to unlearn. These words paint a picture not of a monster, but of a desperate hunter, forced by circumstance to rewrite the rules of survival. Conservationist John Varty offers a different perspective, one that places responsibility on human shoulders. We've encroached on their territory, we've depleted their natural prey. In a way, we've created the problem. The lion doesn't see a human as a symbol, it sees a resource, a potential meal. Varty's words are a sobering reminder that the boundaries between human civilization and wild nature are not as clear-cut as we imagine. Every time we build a road, clear a forest, or expand a settlement, we alter the delicate balance between predator and prey. So, if a lion's natural instinct is to avoid humans, what is the single most common reason they overcome that fear and begin to see us as prey? Surprisingly, it is not always hunger or injury that triggers this shift. More often, it is a fundamental change in their environment, a disruption that forces them to rewrite their own rules of survival. Habitat loss, human expansion, climate change, and the depletion of natural prey all contribute to an atmosphere of desperation. A lion, faced with the collapse of its world, adapts in the only way it knows how, by seeking out new sources of food, even if that means hunting humans. The process is chillingly logical. When a lion is injured, its ability to chase down fleet-footed antelope is compromised. Humans, by comparison, are slow, distracted, and often unarmed. If a lion discovers that it can successfully hunt a human, the reward far outweighs the risk. The behavior can spread. Other lions may learn by observation, and man-eating can become a local epidemic, with multiple lions preying on humans in a given area. But man-eating is not a sustainable strategy. Lions that develop this behavior often meet a swift end, killed by hunters, rangers, or desperate villagers. Yet the phenomenon serves as a stark warning. The boundaries between human and animal are not immutable, and when those boundaries are crossed, the consequences can be deadly. The narrative of the man-eating lion is not a simple horror story. It is a profound cautionary tale about the intersection of human expansion and wildlife preservation. It is a story of unintended consequences, of what happens when the ancient laws of the wild are forced to adapt to a rapidly changing world. A lion eating a human is a symptom, not the disease itself. It is a visceral reminder that while we may sit at the top of the modern food chain, in the wild, the rules are still written by ancient instincts and primal needs. And sometimes, those rules can be rewritten in blood. Throughout history, humans have sought to tame the wild, to bend nature to our will. We build fences, carve roads, and erect cities in places where lions once roamed free. Each intrusion into the savanna, each clearing of forest, pushes the lion further into desperation. The intricate web of predator and prey is stretched to breaking point, and when it snaps, the results can be catastrophic. Consider the case of the lions of Njombe in Tanzania. In the early 20th century, a pride of lions terrorized the region, killing and eating hundreds of people. The local villagers lived in constant fear, abandoning their fields and homes. Investigations revealed that the lions had become man-eaters, not out of malice, but out of necessity. Their natural prey had been hunted to near extinction by humans. The lions, facing starvation, turned to the only available food source. The lessons of Tsavo and Njombe are echoed in modern times. As human populations grow and expand, the interface between civilization and wilderness becomes ever more fraught. Encounters between lions and humans are becoming more common, and each encounter carries the potential for tragedy. Conservationists warn that unless we address the root causes, habitat loss, prey depletion, and human encroachment, man-eating behavior may become more frequent. But the story is not solely one of fear and conflict. It is also a story of resilience, adaptation, and the enduring power of nature. Lions are, above all, survivors. They have weathered countless challenges over the millennia, adapting to changing climates, evolving alongside their prey, and navigating the shifting landscape of the African continent. The emergence of man-eating behavior is a testament to their ability to adapt, even in the face of overwhelming odds. For humans, the challenge is to find a way to coexist with the king of beasts. This means respecting boundaries, preserving habitats, and protecting the delicate balance of the savanna. It means understanding that we are not separate from nature, but a part of it, subject to the same laws, the same dangers, and the same opportunities for survival. The image of the lion stalking through the grass is both beautiful and terrifying. It reminds us that the wild is not a distant memory, but a living reality, one that demands respect, caution, and humility. When the king decides to hunt us, it is not a judgment, but a consequence, a response to a world that has changed beyond recognition. The man-eating lion is a myth made real, a symbol of the fragile balance between humanity and nature. It is a story that challenges our assumptions, forces us to confront our deepest fears, and asks us to reconsider our place in the world. Are we truly at the top of the food chain, or are we merely another link in the endless cycle of predator and prey? In the end, the answer lies not in the savanna, but in ourselves. Our actions, our choices, and our willingness to adapt will determine whether the king of the jungle continues to rule or whether he is driven into desperation and darkness. The story of the man-eating lion is a warning, but it is also an invitation, a call to understand, respect, and protect the wild places that sustain us all. As the sun sets over the savanna, the grass sways in the wind, and the lion walks on, searching for its next meal. The king is neither friend nor enemy, but a force of nature, majestic, powerful, and when necessary, deadly. The ancient dance continues, and in its rhythm, we find both fear and fascination. The king has tasted human flesh, and the world will never be the same. This is not a story of monsters, but of survival. It is a story that reminds us that the wild, for all its beauty and danger, is governed by rules older than humanity itself. To encounter the king is to confront those rules, to recognize the fragility of our place in the world, and to accept the challenge of living alongside the greatest predator of all. In the end, the tale of the man-eating lion is not one of horror, but of truth. It is a truth that we must face, not with fear, but with understanding and respect. For in the wild, the king reigns, and when the king hunts, the world watches, breathless, as the ancient drama unfolds once more.